Hi peoples, it's me Gabrielle, and welcome to not really a tutorial. I'm gonna just be explaining how I do things in terms of how to draw bodies and poses, because that was pretty frequently asked for in the little poll that I put up on my YouTube community tab. We're going to be drawing bodies, poses, different body types, and having some fun. First, we're gonna start off with the gals. We have some reference. I always love using reference. Reference is great. Reference is a great tool, and you shouldn't be scared of using reference because it's important. Honestly, with how I draw and how I've kind of formulated my style, you have to look at real life examples of things, and that is looking at people, looking at these random people that I found on Pinterest. When I draw girls, I tend to use a lot of circles for the armature. Granted, it depends on who I'm drawing, because generally speaking, my art style is very sharp and angular. So that's why I don't really like drawing girls all that much, because girls, I mean, they can be chiseled. And
how long is this going to take?
However, I tend to draw in circles when I do girls for different body types. So here we're gonna start with Keiko. So just for example and reference, even though drawing over a pose and a picture for reference is very useful, especially when you're trying to get a certain pose down or get comfortable with doing a certain pose, I enjoy drawing over the reference that I have, and tracing isn't necessarily cheating. If you're tracing someone else's artwork, that's pretty scummy to do. But if you're tracing over a reference to get a feel for the motion of the pose or whatever, even though this pose isn't anything crazy, just for reference help and just for muscle memory more so, because the more you do a certain pose or an angle, then your hands will kind of remember how to do that. And you'll be like, oh, since it's at this angle or doing this pose or this motion, anatomy is naturally going to do this, and it's going to go about moving in a certain way. So here, just doing the head circle, really hexagon that I like doing. I do, like I said before, I do a lot of circles with females. However, since Keiko's body type is very boxy, I would say she has a what do they call it on the thing? What was it, like column, a square? Rectangle?
Yes!
I don't know, but she built like a cereal box. For her, I tend to work in squares and triangles, kind of not really very curvaceous, as you could see, like differing to like Amori. Amori definitely got more junk in her trunk. You have to, pretty much for bodies, is just breaking things down in shapes. Like figuring out your character's body type really helps a lot. So when I did the reference sheets for my OCs, that really put things in perspective for me for like how to draw my characters as easily as possible in a consistent manner. So if we get rid of this, you could see she's very square, not very angular, not very round, even though her face is very round, but breaking things down into shapes. So Keiko is a rectangle. For shapes, to explain it better, here she's very square, very thin, nothing much to her. Pretty even. Her hips match her shoulders. Pretty straightforward, pretty straight down. Jace, he has the upside down triangle. Bam, see that? Upside down triangle. I usually just stick to pentagon. Just angular, really, for guys. Very, very chiseled, very angular. And then I would say the girl that I'm most used to drawing with circles is Amori. I'm literally just adding so many circles to her. I'm just like, okay, that's her body, those are her hips. For her that's her waist. For her hips, I draw like a heart shape.
Ow.
Her thighs, very round, so very circular, not very sharp at all. And then Iggy, I'd say he's similar to Jace in the way that very angular, but I would say more of a trapezoid, very strong build. Made up of those shapes, not cinched at the waist, not snatched. He's got kind of a dad bod going on, and we'll get to that later. If I get rid of this, you can see the different shapes that we have going on. So Iggy, we got the triangle. Oh my gosh, Gabrielle doesn't know her basic shapes. We got this like weird trapezoid looking thing, where the shoulders are a little bit longer than the waist. Going down, Jace, we have broader shoulders and a tiny little waist. cinched little triangle going on here. Keiko, this freaking rectangle. Again, built like a cereal box. And then Amori, we have the hourglass shape that can be seen in many character designs with drawing gyals. So for guys, I like to think of them as a lot more angular. That's why I do prefer drawing guys. I like drawing men, big burly men. We got some skinny scrawny kings too, and some thicker than a snicker guys. But for guys, it's really the same thing of just breaking them down into shapes. That's pretty much the basic of when you're drawing a body and using reference. By breaking it down into shapes, dumbs it down. Bam! See, there's a triangle. There's a rectangle. Or if you want to even go deeper, see the shoulder here. Want to go deeper? Okay. Triangle looking thing. And the shoulder, you have a square, 2 squares or rhombuses, and then kind of this weird looking oval thing. Another weird looking oval thing. Hand, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Weird looking oval teardrop looking thing. And just breaking it down that way, you can do the chest. The chest is kind of like a trapezoid in a weird way. Just breaking it down into shapes, whether it be 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional, because by breaking it down, or at least like even if you're breaking down the head into a plane that's in a 3-dimensional plane, this would be a cylinder right here. We're getting technical. Circle, like a ball. The ball. Cylinder. Bam. See? Look how that's coming around. That's going. Bam. Bada bing, bada boom. A person's head, hands above their shoulders. You see the shoulders kind of bump up in this way, where the collarbone is. And then you can see that the lats are right here. And the pecs kind of go over here. And you know that the shape of that are kind of boxy. If you're drawing the person on the skinnier side, you know, that's squares. The hips, your pelvis. You see that it all takes a certain shape. And to work very rough into very exact or very precise is a lot easier than just starting off precise, like right off the bat. Because you want it to be loose. You want to get the aura of the pose down or the body down that you're drawing. You don't want to rush into, okay, well, I have to draw a super detailed arm first, or super detailed this or that first. You can slow down. This drawing, for example, that I have yet to finish, I have the heights of them. So, and yes, that says 6'10" because he's a couple inches taller with his boots on. I'm just being biblically accurate.
Bruh.
Biblically, I'm being lore accurate. So for this one, I kind of decapitated the poses that I was using. You can see how screwed up they look, because I was like, okay, I need the heads tilted this way, and I kind of just adjusted my reference that way. And then I did the sketches as such as well. And you could see in the sketches, Jace is a lot more straight and angular. Keiko kind of has a little bit of curve to her, even though Keiko isn't really the best example to use for this because she's very boxy. And for height, I know there were some people who were like, oh, the heights of your characters and them being relative and like always consistent. What I love using is heightcomparison.com. I think that's what it's called. I have many references and screenshots from that website that I use. That is another great tool. Here I have a height chart, and I kind of just, when I'm drawing, I will take a pose. Let's say I was drawing Amori kicking. Bring this opacity down. This is her right here. I kind of just line it up. Yeah, if she was straightened up, she would be that height. Beautiful. Great. I would line it up here and be like, okay, this is kind of accurate to where we are, sort of. A little bit right here. And then I just kind of go from there with a really rough armature. Oh my god, what is that leg? See? And that's how I pretty much go about doing height. And also another thing with height is you kind of see little cues in where your characters are height-wise. So for Keiko, if I'm drawing her with Jace, I always put the top of her head at like the level of where his armpit is, I guess, or like across his chest right here. And then for Amori, if she's, I have a little method to my madness with her. If she's in heels, then she's like pretty much under his chin, under Iggy's chin. And then if she's not, she's like at his shoulders, at the top of his shoulders. And if you look, that is also true. So boom, right at the top of the shoulders. If she was 3 inches taller, she'd be right here. For Keiko, right in the center of his chest, kind of where his armpit and like shoulder is, right here, like where the ball of his shoulder is. That's kind of how I map it out in my brain. And then same thing with Seth and Kilo. I mean, it's all pretty much just relative to each other and together. This website has helped me so much with putting things in perspective in terms of height and stuff. So people are always like, oh my god, Keiko looks like a kid next to Jace because she's freaking 5'1" and he's 6'8".
Bruh.
Like, she's short and he's freaking massive. Like, he is like a whole foot above the average for a guy, I think.
Yes!
The guy is like 5'9". I think the average is like 5'9" or something. But these are just quick little tips that I have for you guys to practice, I guess, and to apply because they help me. And I use them in my art every day. I do really rough sketch, and then sometimes, depending on how I'm feeling, I'll go right from that really rough sketch right into line art, or I'll refine the sketch and take it from there. But usually if I'm in a rush or I kind of have a vision of what I want to do, then I just go from super rough sketch of basic shapes to refined line art. So take this as you will. I am not by any means a professional, or what I say is you know, rule or law or whatever. This is just me being silly, and I hope it helps you be silly. So yeah, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if this was helpful to you down in the comments. Let me know what you draw with these tips. I would love to see them either through my Instagram, because I always reply to messages through there, or if you don't have Instagram and you want to just like email me, I don't know, please show me. I would love to see your guys' art. This is like the longest outro ever. This is all I have for today. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, ta-ta, toodles.